Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
And welcome. And you all have a prayer book, a paper siddur in your hand, and I'll invite you to open it and join us in an opening prayer. Ki va moed, behold, the time has come.
Lots of clapping, enjoyment.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Oh, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Wrong song. Ki va moed. Shalom once again, and welcome everyone. If you don't know me, my name is Rabbi Jason Gwozdov, and this is my wife Lindy Passer, and she's our temple soloist. And you know, when I work with all our bar and bat mitzvah students, and we have that last meeting, I say to them, in all earnestness, you are required to make a minimum of 3 mistakes at your bar mitzvah. And if you don't, I make you do it all over again. And they have this look of terror. But of course, I'm making a silly joke. And I share that with you now because I'm role modeling by beginning with a mistake. But the lesson is we are all human and we make mistakes, and this is not a show. This is a wonderful simcha, a celebration in the life of our bar mitzvah Jacob, and for the Kobrin family and friends who are here to celebrate both in the room, and let us say hello to those who are joining us online. There's an old Yiddish saying that goes like this: man plans and God laughs. And I think you know why I'm sharing that with you, because as smart as we think we are, as technologically advanced as we have become, the events of the world are not in our control. Little things happen, like, say, a world pandemic that shuts everything down. And as most of you probably know and remember, this bar mitzvah was supposed to happen a year ago, and it was going to take place in Israel. And then the pandemic came. And everything shifted and everything changed. And we had to make lots of decisions about how to move ahead. Some of our students did it on Zoom, some decided to wait, and they've all been wonderful. And we are so filled with joy that we're here today. And this actually is the same Shabbat that this service would have been a year ago, with the same Torah portion, a wonderful portion, Lech Lecha, where we're introduced to Abraham and Sarah, which happens to be the same Torah portion that Jacob's father Ben chanted standing right here in this same spot a couple of years ago, right? Anyway, we're here. We're going to have a wonderful time. We're going to pray together and sing. And I hope that you will be active participants today, not just passive observers. That means trying your best to read and to sing along. I always like to say, if the Hebrew gets in the way, lie, works just fine. Clap and enjoy. And I promise if you do that, it will increase the simcha and the joy for all of us here. So I encourage you to participate. And now, our service continues on page 1, and it's my pleasure to invite up onto the bima Uncle Mikey to share with us a special family blessing.
I think so.
All right. Oh. Hi. May you live to see your world fulfilled. May your destiny be for worlds still to come, and may you trust in generations past and yet to be. May your heart be filled with intuition and your words be rich in understanding. May songs of praise ever be upon your tongue, and your vision clarify a straight path before you. May your eyes shine with the light of holy words, and your face reflect the brightness of the heavens. May your lips speak wisdom, and your fulfillment be in righteousness, as you yearn to hear the words of the holy ancient one of old. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have many rituals in Jewish life, and we have ritual objects and even garments. And one very special ritual garment is called a talit, the prayer shawl that we wear in services. Traditional Jews actually wear a small version of this underneath their garment at all times. And as beautiful as this talit is, the significant part is not the material or the color or the design, but the simple fringes that are affixed to the four corners that are tied in a very specific way. Knots and coils, every one of them representing a Hebrew letter or a number that represents a letter. And if you know the code, it reminds us of the 613 mitzvot, not just the Big Ten, but the 613 mitzvot in the Torah. And as Jacob becomes a bar mitzvah, a son of the commandments today, he will wear the talit for the first time. It also, in a different counting, says God is one, the bedrock of our Jewish faith in monotheism, in one God, which we learn about today in our Torah portion with the very first monotheist, our patriarch Jacob and his wife Sarah. It's my pleasure to invite onto the bima Jacob's mom and dad, Sophia and Ben, to present him with his talit and to share with us some words of blessing. There's a blessing we say at happy occasions in Jewish life, like this, that thanks God for giving us life, for sustaining us, and bringing us to this special time. And we invite you to join us in Shehachiyah.
We're on page 2. Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheanu v'kimanu v'higianu l'zman hazeh Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheanu v'kimanu
I'm very unprepared. Okay, just parents' blessing.
Okay.
Come over here, Mom.
Okay. So I'm already a mess, so if this doesn't all come out, the main points are, we love you and we're proud of you. But if I can get through a little bit more of it, you've done an amazing job so far, and I know the rest of this afternoon is going to be just as wonderful. You should take a deep breath and relax. There's no one here to judge you or evaluate you. There's no teachers out there with red markers or pop quizzes or power school. There's no coaches with radar guns or whistles or stopwatches. There's nothing out here but people that love you, and support you unconditionally. I know that you're extremely private and modest. Being the center of attention makes you very uncomfortable. But I hope when you reflect on this wonderful day, you will see all the smiling faces in the crowd. You're lucky to have such family and friends that will never stop advocating for you, and they'll always be here to help you succeed. You make us very proud. We're all very proud of the young man that you're becoming. Deciding what to say today has been difficult. Throughout your life, I've tried to raise you in such a way that you would always know my feelings. I try to never keep a secret how much I love you, admire you, and am proud of you. I don't think expressing those feelings only on special occasions is appropriate. They should be routine and commonplace, because I would never want there to be any doubt in your mind how much Mama and I appreciate you. We appreciate getting to share and celebrate in your success. Believe it or not, we also enjoy getting to share and learn from your failures. Watching you take those lessons, make yourself stronger, smarter, and more capable. Reflecting on the last 14 years, the one thing I can say is it has gone terrifyingly fast. So the one piece of advice I would give you is to please just slow down. There's always going to be things in life that you have to do, but make sure you carve out time for the things that you want to. Try new things, never be afraid to go on an adventure. And when on those adventures, I hope you remember the other pieces of advice that I've taught you and your sister. I love you.
Oh, you gotta say it.
Say it. It's easier to stay dry than get dry.
That's right.
Wing it.
What's that?
Do you already have it memorized?
Oh, I'm just always on. Like Papa, it was very difficult to decide what I was going to say, and I am a long-winded person, and so I recited a lot of different things to say. But I wanted to remind you and others about when I found out I was pregnant with you. Papa was excited and nervous. We went to the doctor's office, and before you're even supposed to tell people if you're having a boy or a girl, because it's just way too early, he told us we were having a boy. And I knew we were having a boy because I had dreamt of you already. We get into the car, and then Papa, there's only a few times you're allowed to cry. And Papa just had tears of joy. He was so excited that he was going to have a boy. And I was so excited that no matter what, there would be a big brother for any siblings to come. And I think for the first time, you can actually beat up your sister, because she's been carrying the bulk of protecting and sticking up for you. And I've noticed that shift in this past year as you've really begun to mature and grow. You're getting a little thicker. a little bigger than Papa. And, we have this baseball theme going, and to remind you that your first word was ball. And I feel like there are things in life that, like Rabbi was saying, just are out of our control. Having our Israel plans canceled twice, that wasn't in our control. And one of the things that I learned from my parents that I hope that you will take is that there's just divine timing. That things happen for a reason, and they always happen the way that they're supposed to. And so being here a year later, I really do feel like this is a very manly, big brother presence, that you are everything we hoped you would be and more than we could have even imagined. I'm so proud of you, and you're so smart, and you're so handsome. And you're going to do such a good job with this, and your speech is so much better than mine. You guys are really going to love it. He's going to do great. Okay? And I love you. The most.
Love you.
Do we leave it? Okay.
Great job, Papa. Thank you, dear.
There's a great saying that doesn't come from the Torah and doesn't come from the Talmud. It comes from popular culture, but I think it's so true, and we're seeing it in front of our eyes today. Love is love is love. And one more quick service point. I forgot, I was supposed to say in the beginning, please take out your cell phones and turn them off. Silence them. Even better, power them down so you're not tempted and so they don't interfere with our wireless. And we continue on the bottom of page 2. And our service continues on page 3 as Jacob takes over the leading of our service.
Elu Devarim She'en Lahem Shi'or. These are the duties whose worth cannot be measured: honoring one's father and mother, acts of love and kindness, diligent pursuit of knowledge and wisdom, hospitality to strangers, visiting the sick, celebrating the bride and the groom, consoling the bereaved, praying with sincerity, and making peace where there is strife. And the study of Torah leads to them all. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lasek vivina lechahin ben yom uvein laila. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shesani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani ben chorin. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish arumim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kefufim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamehin mitadei gaver. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam otzer Yisrael bigvura. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam oter Yisrael b'tifara. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten layayef koach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hama'avir she'ena me'enai unuma me'afapai.
Those who are able, we invite you to please rise as we continue with the call to worship the Baruch Hu. Please be seated. And our service continues on the middle of page 6 as Jacob reads a contemporary translation of the Via Hafta.
Love Adonai your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children, talk about them at home and at work. Whether you are tired or you are rested, let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the door of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot, so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai your God. Standing at the water's edge, the sea spray on your cheek, close your eyes and feel within the beating of freedom's drum. Listen closely on the breeze. Do you hear the music of the ages? O God, you beat the drum. You are the song. You are the wonder in each of us. With joy and awe, we sing to you this song of freedom.
Bottom of page 7.
We continue on page 8 as I invite everyone to rise, those who are able, for the chanting of the Amidah. Adonai sifatai titaku pia gitehilatecha. Eternal God, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu ve'Imateinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot Be'imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, mechaye hakol. Atah Rav le'hoshia, mechaper chayim bechesed, mechaye hakol berachamim rabim. Somech noflim verofech olim, umatir asurim, umekayim emunato, lishenei afar. Michamocha ba'gevurah, umido melach, melech meimid, umechayeh, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman nata l'hachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, B'chayei hakol.
We continue on page 10.
Eish et shimcha ba'olam, Yeshem shemachdishim bo'oto b'shmei marom, kachatuv hayad nevi'echa, v'kara zel zeh ve'amar, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzivaot, Melech kol ha'aretz kevodo.
Adir, Adirenu, Adonai, Adonenu, Mahadir, Shimacha b'chol haaretz.
Baruch kevod Adonai mimkomo. Echad hu Eloheinu, hu Avinu, hu Malkeinu, hu Mashiachenu, vehu Yashmi'enu, berachamav le'nei kol chai. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Yimloch Adonai le'olam, Elohai Yisrael, Ledor vador, Hallelujah.
Ledor vador nagid godlecha, ulenetzach netzachim kedushatcha nagdish, v'shivchacha Eloheinu, mipinu lo yamush, le'olam aved. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el, ha'kadosh.
May be seated. We have many beautiful and important prayers in our liturgy, and they articulate the faith and the values of our people and a gloss of our history as well. But in each of our services, we like to invite everyone to take a few quiet moments and to turn inward, to meditate, to pray, to think about the blessings, not only of this day, but the blessings that fill your life. And if you would like some inspiration, there are some beautiful meditations on page 11. Well, let us take a few quiet moments for Tfilat Halev, the prayer of the heart. As you heard, the Israel trip twice was postponed, but I know this family is going to get there. That's for sure. And the next song, which was their choice, is going to be a little taste of what they're going to see and learn about and experience in Israel on page 12, and we invite you to sing along with us, Piece of the Dream. From the Jordan River to the Galilee, from Jerusalem to Tel Aviv, from the top of Masada to the Western Wall, you can feel it. Yes, it's real. It's from Theodore Herzl to Ben Gurion, from Golda Meir, the magic passes on. If you will it, you will see. If you dream it, it can be. You hold a piece of the dream. Yes, we do. Yes, you do. You hold a piece of the dream, and it's a dream come true. The desert room's a dream comes true. A homeland's built for me and you. If we will it, it can be. If we dream it, it will see. We hold a piece of the dream. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We hold a piece of the dream, and it's a dream come true. Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael Chai. Oh, Davinu Chai. Chai, Chai, Chai. We hold a piece of the dream. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We hold a piece of the dream, and it's a dream come true. We hold a piece of the dream. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We hold a piece of the dream, and it's a dream come true. So now I realize I made another mistake, so 2 now. Because in the beginning of the service, I was also supposed to announce and explain to you why, when you came in, we gave you a beautiful small velvet bag with lifesavers. This is not intended to be a service snack. There's going to be lots of great food later on at Ed and Shirley's. The reason that we passed out this small satchel of candy is we have a wonderful tradition. We want to physically show and express our joy, and sometimes we do that with a dance. And in Jewish circles, at a moment like this, we do it by tossing, oh so gently, I hope, candy to represent the sweetness of this moment. So I hope you got that small bag when you came in, and have it at the ready. And it's going to come at the end of Jacob's special Aliyah, and I'll make a signal, a subtle signal, something like, no! And leave the candy in the satchel, right? We have an important principle in Judaism, pikuach nefesh, which means to save a life or to save a soul. Our health is more important than anything, more important than almost every one of those 613 mitzvot. So we're trying today, as you noticed, to keep COVID protocols. So we thought by putting the candy in the bag, that's another layer of safety. So leave them in the bag, and at the end of the service, we'll invite the kids and anyone else who would like to come up and pick them up. And yes, at that point, you can take them and eat them and enjoy them. So it's my pleasure to invite up onto the bima Jacob's grandparents, Ignacio and Maria Monroy, to have the honor of opening the ark. And everyone else, please rise.
Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, ki Shenatan, Torah, Torah. Baruch Shenatan, Torah, Torah. Le'amo Yisrael, Ikadushato.
This is the Torah, Israel's Morashah, the eternal inheritance of our people. Today, Jacob, we place the Torah in your arms lovingly with the hope and the prayer that you will continue to learn and to be guided by its teachings, and that one day, God willing, you will pass it down to the next generation of the Kobrin family. You have heard us many times say, it's a tree of life. We sing, it is a tree of life. Just as a real tree brings us shade and wood and fruit and paper and oxygen, all these things that sustain and nourish life. So it's the Torah that sustains and nourishes Jewish life. And now it's a pleasure to invite your mom and dad once again, Ben and Sophia, and your grandparents, Ed and Shirley, back onto the bima as we pass the Torah to you through the generations of your family.
At the end of his life, Moses spoke to the children of Israel and said, "It is not enough that you have received the Torah from me. You must make it new again in every generation."
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. You know, in traditional Jewish life, when a girl reaches the age of 12, she becomes a bat mitzvah. And June, Jacob's sister, yesterday on the Hebrew calendar, reached the age of 12. So yesterday was her bat mitzvah. That wasn't an applause line, but we get carried away. And a year from now, she, at age 13, on this same Shabbat, with the same Torah portion, she will celebrate her bat mitzvah. But we recognize it today. It's a wonderful celebration as well that we get to share and link these two. And we'll give June the honor of joining us on the bima and undressing the Torah. Sweet as honey, sweet as honey, sweet as honey on our tongue. Sweet as honey, sweet as honey, sweet as honey on our tongue. Baruch on Shabbat, the Torah comes out of the ark, and we read the Torah portion of the week from the beginning to the end. It wasn't written in 52 chapters, but the rabbis divided it that way so we would have an annual reading. And as you can see, if you can see the scroll, almost all of it is over here because we've just begun. Breshit, Noah, and Lech Lecha. It's only the third Torah portion in our annual cycle, and this indeed is such a special portion because it's here, as I've already mentioned, where we meet Abraham and Sarah for the first time. And God says, Lech Lecha, Me'artzecha, Mimuladatecha, El Beit Avicha, go from the land of your birth, from your father's home to a land that I will show you, and there you will become, I'm being told to go stand in front of this mic for the live stream, a blessing. And it is indeed a journey, but it's not just a journey from one location to another. Lech Lecha can be translated as go to yourself. Look into your soul. And this journey for Abraham and Sarah indeed was a journey of the soul, as they left everything they knew that was familiar behind them to an unknown destination and transformed themselves eventually into a nation and started a new faith, Judaism, with all the wonderful values and teachings that we bring into the world and that we've shared through Christianity and Islam and on and on and on. And I'm talking too much, so end of my sermon here, because Jacob has a wonderful, wonderful message that he's going to share with us based on the portion. But first, we invite him to the Torah to chant. Now, as I've mentioned, we're trying to establish COVID protocols, and there are times pre-COVID when we had 20 people up here for an Aliyah. We're not going to do that today, but we are going to have some of the participants in this first Aliyah on the bima, and some standing from their seats in the congregation. So those on the bima, Yamod Rishon, Benyamin ben Yisrael v'Sara, Sipora bat Abraham v'Sara, Yisrael ben Reuven, Sarah bat Abraham v'Sara. Parents Ben and Sophia Kobrin, grandparents Ed and Shirley Kobrin. I certainly want to extend the honor to other close family members, and when I call your name, we ask you to please stand in your place in the congregation. Yerachmiel ben Reuven, Michael ben Yisrael, Reuven ben David, Yehoshua ben David, Reuven bat Yerachmiel, Meir ben Yerachmiel, great uncle Dick Kobrin, Uncle Mikey Kobrin, cousins Reuben and Josh Kobrin, Robin Aquino, and Marcus Kobrin.
Baruch
Hu et Adonai Hamvorach,
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato, Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayomer Adonai El Avram Lech Lecha Me'artzecha Umi moladetecha Umi be'avicha El ha'aretz Asher arecha Ve'escha Legoy Gadol Va'avarecha Va'agadla Shemecha Ve'yeh Bracha.
melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu, Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
Yashikoa, everyone who had this beautiful year.
Thank you.
In the presence of our Sefer Torah, we always like to offer special blessings, and especially blessings for good health and for healing for friends and family who are ailing and need whatever help, whatever strength we can bring to them, and our prayers for a refuah nefesh, a full and speedy healing. So if you have a friend or a family member who's ailing, for whom you would like to include in the prayer, as my hand passes across the room, please say the name loudly. And let us join together in singing Mishavera.
Mishavera avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu, may the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishavera imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We add to those names mentioned aloud those of us here who are in need of these same blessings, of refuat hanefesh and refuat haguf, of healing for mind and body and spirit. Baruch atah Adonai rofeh hacholim. Blessed are you, O God, who heals the sick.
Amen.
You know, the Jewish people, Jacob, is defined not only by our faith, but by our history, by all the things that have happened to us through the thousands of years that we have been a people. At times, great triumph and joy, and certainly at other times, as we know, tragedy and persecution. Why am I talking about this today at your bar mitzvah, at this celebration of joy? It's because we always take a very realistic, long view. And we remember that we have persevered through all those difficult moments. We have maintained our sense of being a people and our faith, which has guided us and given us strength. We have a tradition at our congregation, like many around the country, of twinning all our bar and bat mitzvah students with a young child who perished in the Holocaust. And we do this to remember what was probably the saddest and most tragic moment in the history of our people, but we do so to perpetuate the memory of that child who was not able, didn't have the privilege of celebrating a bar or bat mitzvah as you do today. We don't want to forget them. And we don't want to give a posthumous victory to our persecutors, meaning they're gone and we're still here, and we affirm that we're still here. And the best thing that we can do is to go on being proud Jews, to stand tall, as you do, speaking of tall, and to affirm our faith. And so I invite you, Jacob, to read this dedication.
As I become a bar mitzvah, I pledge to remember Robert Reuven Wagner. Robert was born in Paris, France. He was the only child of Lena and Adolf Wagner. According to his aunt, Robert and his mother were sent to Drancy internment camp and later transported to Auschwitz, where they were murdered. We do not know how old Robert was when he died, but from a picture that his aunt has, we can guess that he was about 5 years old. Today, I remember him and read Torah in his honor. On Yom HaShoah, Holocaust Remembrance Day, I will remember him. When I say Mourner's Kaddish, I will remember him. Robert could not become a bar mitzvah. I'm doing this for him, for me, and for the Jewish people. I make this pledge in honor of all those who perished in the Holocaust.
Thank you. Well done, and so meaningful. And now we reach a big, important moment, because anyone can read the Torah, right?
No.
No. With 3 or 4 years of preparation and learning, but it's only someone who has reached the age of bar or bat mitzvah who can have the honor of being called by their Hebrew name to come forward and to chant the blessing, the Aliyah blessing, and of course, in your case, the Torah as well. So this is your big moment. Yamod habar mitzvah, Yaakov ben Benjamin v'Tzipora. We call to the Torah our bar mitzvah, Jacob Kobrin.
Baruch Hu Adonai Hamvorah.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bahar banu mikol hamim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Va'avarcha mevarecha kalelcha aor venivrehu vecha kol mishpechot cha'adama vayelech Avram ka'asher diber elav Adonai vayelech ito lot ve'Avram ben chamesh shanim ve'shivim shana be'tzetot mecharan. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah temet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Now. Simen tov and mazel tov and mazel tov and simen tov and mazel tov, mazel tov.
And Simen Tov and Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov and Simen Tov. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Yehelanu. Ulekol Am Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu. Ulekol Am Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu. Ulekol Am Yisrael.
absolutely frightening. Those black bags kind of look like bats coming. That was wonderful. Well, we'll pick this up later on. And June, we invite you to come back up onto the bima in a second to dress the Torah. This ritual is called Hagbah. We lift the Torah and turn it around and show it to the congregation. I used to joke that we were showing you that it's not a Xerox copy, but the real thing. But the meaning has much more thought and depth to it. It's the idea that this is not some private teaching locked in a cabinet somewhere or held by a high priest who only dispenses it when he wants to. This is a gift from God to the Jewish people, and through our people to the world, a blueprint for building a world of justice and peace. And I invite you all to please rise. Asher Sam Moshe Lifnei Bnei Yisrael B'yad Adonai B'yad Moshe
Ki lekavta natati lachem Torati al tazovu
Hayim hi lama
Chazikim ba v'tom checha me'ushar deracheha darchei noam v'chol nativoteha Shalom, Hashivenu Adonai Elecha v'nashuva Kadesh, Kadesh Ameinu Kadesh Ameinu Kekedem.
You may be seated. Thank you, Jim.
Since the beginning of organized civilization, kings and queens, religious and political leaders have demanded conformity to control the masses. Power and control are held by those who are able to convince people to follow them blindly, believing or doing whatever they say. Millions of people throughout history have been punished, even killed, for not conforming and not following the crowd. Today, pressure is placed on kids by parents, teachers, and older generations trying to shape young minds to conform in order to get a job. In the workplace, a nonconformist is thought to be a non-team player and may be passed over for a promotion or even fired. Yet it is the people who think out of the box who have made huge advances in science, medicine, space exploration, the arts, and so many more things that make our lives better. If we didn't have people like that, we would still believe the earth is flat and that the sun revolves around the earth and not the other way around. Some of the most famous people in history were nonconformist. Golda Meir was a woman leading a new country in a male-dominant society. In her time, women did not take on such important roles of leadership. We also have notable political leaders who were nonconformists, like Abraham Lincoln, a man born in a log cabin and self-educated, a self-motivated man who became president of the United States and led the emancipation of the slaves. Pablo Picasso's paintings and sculptures were new and unusual. His abstract art showed us another way to see the world. These leaders in their field and out-of-the-box thinking helped shape modern history. And let's not forget the musicians and pop icons who changed the world in their own way. Performers like Michael Jackson, the Beatles, and Metallica. Their music and performance are so unique, they set the stage for many who have followed in their footsteps. And the world is richer and more diverse because of their contributions. In our Torah portion today, we are introduced to Abraham, who is definitely a nonconformist, or at least that's how the commentary describes him. Like the people I've just mentioned, Abraham rejected the status quo and did not run with the crowd. We are told that he grew up far away from the land of Israel in a place called Ur of the Chaldeans, and was brought by his father Terah to Haran. It is there that Abraham receives the call from God, Lech Lecha, to go to a new place that God would show him. Rabbis of the commentary ask the question, why was Abraham chosen? What qualities did he possess that made him fit to be the first patriarch of the Jewish people? One of the answers that the rabbis offer is that Abraham rejected the idolatry and pagan beliefs of the world he lived in. Some say that he rebelled against the worship of idols in his home and in the palace of Nimrod, who ruled at the time. At an early age, Abraham saw people praying to different stars and planets and others making God out of wood and stone. He said to himself, how is it possible for this wonderful world to have been created by a star or a planet, or by an idol that is made by human hands? The more questions Abraham asked, the more foolish idolatry seemed to him. One of the most famous stories about Abraham's rejection of idolatry is an interesting event between Abraham and his father Terah, who the Midrash explained actually sold idols in the shop. One day, his father had some business to attend, and so he asked Abraham to watch the store and to help any customer who might come in. After some time has passed, Abraham, who was a little mischievous, was getting bored. So accidentally, or maybe a little on purpose, he knocked over an idol, which shatters into 1,000,000 pieces. Yikes, he said. That was fun. Then Abraham purposely knocked over another idol, and the same thing happens. Oh yeah. Pretty soon Abraham can't help himself, and he is accidentally breaking every idol in the shop. When suddenly a thought pops into his mind. Boy, am I in trouble. What's my father going to say when he gets back? So Abraham got an idea. He has not yet broken the biggest idol in the shop, standing in the corner. So he takes his father's hammer and places it in the idol's hand. Sometime later, Abraham's father Terah comes back and sees the big mess in the shop and yells, Abraham, what happened here? Who broke all the idols? Abraham sheepishly answers, oh, that. Well, let me tell you. I was watching the shop, and one of the idols over there got in an argument with the idol standing next to him, and he knocked him over. Then that one's friend got really mad and knocked him over. Pretty soon, all the idols were fighting, and then that big one in the corner picked up your hammer and smashed them all. Terah, now really angry, yelled, that's ridiculous. These are only statues made of clay and stone. They have no power. They can't break one another. And then Abraham said, well, Dad, then why do you sell them as though they are gods? Idols have no power. This great story was written as an example of Abraham's independent thinking and nonconformity. Abraham's belief in one God was totally in contrast to his father's belief of many idols. You can imagine how difficult it must have been for him to disagree with his father. I think that's a challenge many independent thinkers have faced. In my own life, I have experienced a small taste of that challenge as only one of 2 Jewish students at a Catholic high school. I'm still in my first semester of my freshman year, so I'm just getting used to it, but it's a little different for me in a few ways. I enjoy my new school and feel totally accepted by the school community, but I feel a little out of place at the monthly Mass, which I'm required to attend, and in my religion class, which is all about Catholic teaching. No one is forcing me to change, but they do know I have different ideas. My friends know I'm Jewish, and so when everybody is reciting the Catholic prayers at Mass, I just stand respectfully keeping quiet. One of my teachers recently asked me why I wasn't participating, and I told her that I'm not Christian or Catholic, and I don't feel comfortable saying the prayers. That was a little awkward and embarrassing, but I felt I needed to be honest and true to who I am. The most uncomfortable moment for me is when everyone lines up to receive communion. I realize this is a sacred moment for people of the Catholic faith, but as a Jew, it's inappropriate for me to participate. I'm not sorry I'm going to St. Mary's because it's a great school that offers me a great education. I realize there are going to be many other experiences in my life where I stand out as different, and where, like Abraham, I will be forced to be a nonconformist. There's probably not a person in this room who hasn't felt pressured by their peers to do something they didn't feel comfortable doing. That can be something serious, like breaking the law, or something small, like being challenged to go down a water slide. Both require us to draw a line and stand strong to what we believe. I encourage you to think about your own life and the things that are important to you. At what point do you think you would draw the line in the situations you encounter? How can you take a lesson and inspiration from Abraham and stand strong for your beliefs? All of the students in our congregation are asked to do a number of mitzvot in the year leading up to their bar mitzvah. A mitzvah is a divine commandment, something that helps someone or makes a positive difference in the world. I would like to tell you about just one of the mitzvot I did that I found meaningful. One of the 10 commandments, as I'm sure everyone knows, is honor your mother and father. This commandment, I believe, extends to grandparents. So this past summer, I spent a lot of time with my grandparents, helping them to take care of a problem with their pool. It was tough and time-consuming, but I felt good about it, helping them and looking back at it. I think it was a real mitzvah. I enjoy spending time with them as well. All the students at our congregation are also asked to make a tzedakah contribution in honor of their bar mitzvah. Tzedakah means righteous giving. In honor of my bar mitzvah, I will be giving 5% of cash gifts I received to an organization called Israel Guide Dogs for the Blind. I'm doing this, A, because I love dogs, and B, because I believe in the important work they are doing, training dogs in Hebrew, to be helping companions for the blind in Israel. I will also be sharing 5% of my monetary gifts with PALS, a very special no-kill dog shelter in Lodi. It's a shelter that my family hosts a fundraiser for every year to honor the memory of my cousin Nicholas. When he passed away a few years back, we also lost his pup Luca, who was tragically hit by a car. Nick was an animal lover, just like me. And now for some thank yous. First, I would like to thank Rabbi Gwozdov for helping me to write my Devar Torah and inspiring me throughout my journey through my Jewish education. Karma, thank you for teaching me my Torah portion and putting up with my crazy busy schedule. I'd like to thank Lindy for helping me pick out the wonderful melodies and for bringing so much warmth and spirit to today's service with her beautiful voice. I'd like to thank my sister June for being such a great little sister and for learning to put up with me when I get stressed out. I'd like to thank all 4 of my grandparents for being so supportive and loving and playing such a big role in my life. I'm so lucky to have you all living so close by. I'd like to thank my Uncle Mikey for helping me edit and write my Devar Torah and for always helping and supporting me. Mom and Dad, I'd especially like to thank the 2 of you for guiding me through my journey in life and for always being so supportive in everything I do. I know I can sometimes be a challenge, but you are always so patient and understanding. I know you guys will always have my back. You are my #1 supporters, and I love you both. Last but not least, I'd like to thank everyone who came today and those who are joining us on YouTube. Your presence, either in person or virtually, helps to make my bar mitzvah a real celebration. Shabbat Shalom.
Oh. Yasher Koach. Let me teach you this, because this is a Yasher Koach moment. It means sort of all the power to you. Come and stay up here, Josh. Jacob. So, try it. Yasher Koach. There we go. Jacob, Jacob, Jacob. I have a tradition, and you richly deserve me to practice this tradition today. It's the Rabbi Gwozdov huge wow, which I invite you to join me on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Wow! First of all, I have to say, who are you? You know, with the pandemic, we didn't see each other for a long time. At least 1.5 years went by, and I didn't see you physically. Maybe I caught you here and there on Zoom, but we were not physically in the same space for the whole time. And I remember there was a kind of a little boy back then, and 1.5 years later, all of a sudden, this young man, whose voice is lower than mine. And we saw today your wonderful maturity and how much you have grown, not just physically, but as a person. You stood here with so much poise, and you read the service beautifully, you chanted beautifully, and you showed us just a little bit of what you're capable of, because there is so much more. And it's being revealed to me and to all of us day by day as you grow and mature, and the sky is the limit. I mentioned earlier that you're standing in the same spot where your dad celebrated his bar mitzvah, and your mom, as an adult, celebrated her adult bat mitzvah, and there's generations of leadership that both your parents and your grandparents have given to not only the Jewish world, but to our temple community right here at Temple Israel. When I came to Stockton 29 years ago, your dad was on the board, and your mom was on at least one or two committees. I mean, your grandfather and your grandmother. And they were real leaders in the community. And a generation later, your father and your mom have followed in their footsteps as leaders in our community. Your dad has just served 2 terms or more on the board and still our financial secretary, and they have been such a blessing to us. And you stand on their shoulders, and you continue on this tradition, which we have seen literally today as they place the Torah lovingly in your arms, and as you made us so proud with everything that you have done. This Torah portion could not have been better for you and for you who you are, and the way you tackled it in your Devar Torah as well, because I see a lot of that in you. Sometimes when we throw out the word, nonconformist, we think a troublemaker or somebody who stands out in a negative way, but it's not that, because we need nonconformists who don't run with the crowd, who are independent thinkers, and who have the strength to stand up tall and to do what they believe is right. And I see that in you. You're not a person who just runs with the crowd, and you're not ashamed to just be who you are, to be yourself. And as one of 2 Jews in a Catholic school, as you shared with us in your speech, I'm sure there are lots of moments where it might be awkward and you stand out as different. And someone who doesn't have the kind of moral character and strength that you have, you might just pretend that you're doing the prayers to appease people, but you have the courage and the strength to be true to who you are and to stand respectfully, and that's a wonderful thing, and I respect you for it. I have no doubt that you are going to do great things with your life. The theme of today is not just bar mitzvah, but the party is baseball. I love this kippah. And I see how through many years you have been so committed to your sport. More than once you came to Hebrew school in your baseball uniform, because you either came from or you were running there afterwards, and you have continued. But I know, although you aspire to be a professional athlete and to play baseball in the professional leagues, you told me you also want to go to college, because it's important to continue to have your education and to cover all your bases. And I respect that as well. I know you're going to do great things, and I look forward to seeing you continue to grow and to mature in the years ahead, and to continue to be a source of nachas, a source of pride, not only for your grandparents and your parents and your family, but for all of us. My prayer for you is that you will always be a blessing for your family, for our community, and for the world. I invite you to join me in front of the ark for a quiet blessing.
Shema bani Take these wings to fly with. Shemibati, with these roots you will grow. This is our promise, this is our blessing. You are the promise and you are the blessing. May you live to see the wonder in this world and those yet to come, to care for those who came before you, to trust in those who are yet to come. Shema Bani, Shema Bani. May your heart be filled with wisdom. May your mind be filled with love. May your lips be filled with sweetness. May you shine like the stars above. So you shall fly on wings of eagles, and you have grown to be straight and tall. This is our promise, this is our blessing. You are the promise, you are the blessing. Shema Bani, Shema Bani.
And now it's my pleasure, at this moment, as we always do, to invite a member of our board of directors onto the bima to present you with your certificate and your Kiddush cup. And I can't think of anyone better to have that honor today than your dad, longtime board member and our financial secretary. And you can give a few more kisses if you want.
Oh, I do? Well, hello. Great job. So I stand here not as your father, but as a representative of the board of directors. So Mazel Tov to you and your beautiful family. Your parents are obviously doing an amazing job with you. You did a great job, and I really appreciated everything that you said. I want to welcome you as a member of our community. You clearly have the ability to make an impact, and I hope that you choose to do that as a young adult within Temple Israel. So, congratulations. A young man within Temple Israel, yes. So here's a certificate and a Kiddush cup. Mazel Tov. I love you.
Oh, we're not done yet. We have the tree presentation, and it's a pleasure and an honor to invite up onto the bima our administrator and director of education and your teacher, Carmen.
Are we still breathing? So Jacob, there's a Jewish teaching that a tree that has really strong roots won't be blown over even if a majorly strong wind comes through. And you, my friend, have amazingly strong roots, both in our Jewish community and in our Stockton community, between both sides of your family. You have so much depth, and it has already brought you so much strength and so much power. And I know that just like an incredibly wonderful tree, you are going to continue to grow and continue to blossom, and you are going to bring amazing things into our world. And when your family gets to Israel, Israel will be one tree greener, because we are planting a tree in Israel in honor of this day. And Rabbi likes to say, when you go to Israel, make sure you find your tree. I'm going to add on, your watering day is Thursday, so make sure you show up on a weekly basis. We also have here in our sanctuary a simcha tree, a happy tree. It's right at the back there. And on about the middle left-hand side, the tree has a brand new leaf, and it is engraved with your name and today's date, and it hangs right next door to your friend Noah. And there's a space for your friend Adrian, who will become bar mitzvah next week. So you're in very good company on the simcha tree. And Jacob, we are so proud of all that you have done, and we look forward to seeing what the future holds for you. Mazel tov.
Thank you.
Hugs, hugs.
And Noah is the other Jewish kid at the Jewish high school, at the Catholic high school. I like that we give our kids such biblical names, Jacob and Noah, and send them to Catholic school. They know who they are. Our service continues now. Maybe.
There we go.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
We are on page 18, and I invite you to rise for Elena. This song we sing in advance of the Aleinu, our destiny, articulates the way we like to read the Aleinu prayer and its meaning to us as a call to action. It's up to us to call ourselves to task, to sing what's good and true, to bring about redemption. It's what we were free to do. For what's the point of being here if we're not moved to change our ways? Aleinu l'shabeach. It's time to live our praise. We are carrying the stories of the ones who came before. The stories will be told of us when we are here no more. We commit ourselves to action. It brings meaning to our days. Aleinu l'shabeach. It's time to live our praise. It's up to us to own the vision. We are an answer to the call. It's up to us to live the words we speak for the benefit of all. It's up to us to bow down deeply. There's a broken world to raise. Aleinu l'shabeach. It's time to live our praise. Aleinu l'shabeach. It's time to live our praise. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon ha'ol. La'techu la'neotzeh breshit. Shelo asanu kigoye ha'aratzot. Velo samanu kemishpechot ha'adama. Shelo samkakenu kahem. Vegor aleinu kechol hamonam. V'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'monim. Lifnei melech malkei hamlakim hakadosh baruch hu. Ne'emar v'chaya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz. Vayom hahu yeh Adonai echad. U'shemo, u'shemo, u'shemo Each of our services concludes with a quiet, reverent moment when we hold dear the memory of our loved ones who are no longer with us physically, but whom we hold in our hearts and in our memories in a very deep way. And so they continue to carry and to bless us. And these great moments of celebration. We are remembering especially loved ones who have passed recently, who would be here. Kvelling, they would be so proud to be a part of this celebration. And we are thinking especially today of family members who passed recently, Don Kobrin and cousin Nicholas Martinez. May their memories be for a blessing and a great source of strength. And I invite anyone who would like to say aloud the name of loved ones they are remembering to please do so. We hold all their memories in our hearts as we recite together on page 19, Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yamad yivrach cherutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon, u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevorach leolam ulomei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudusha barichu la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'mrama, uya asei shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. May the one who makes peace in the high places make peace right here on earth between us and all. And let us join together now in our concluding prayer. And to join us on the bima as we sing our concluding prayer, the entire immediate family and grandpa and grandpas from both sides come and join us as we sing Osei Shalom. Yesterday I had lunch with Jacob, and we're sitting and schmoozing about his life and about his family, and I said to him, you know, I know that you honor the culture from both sides of your family, both the Jewish Ashkenazi side and all that entails, and the Mexican side and all that entails, and I asked him, so tell me about it. He said, it's great, especially the food. And I know that when go back to Ed and Shirley's, part of the meal is going to be tacos. Wow, that's great. I love that. And everyone, what a great blessing Jacob has been to all of us today, and standing on the shoulders of the Kobrin family and the Monroy family, standing tall, making us all so proud. Let us go forward in strength and be a blessing. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.